In the morning light, I'm chasing dreams, navigating through the office streams. Deadlines looming, emails piling high, wondering if I'm reaching for the sky or just passing by. The world outside, it's a swirling storm, chaos in the streets, a daily norm. But inside my mind, I'm seeking peace, a way to balance, a moment to seize. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Upon meetings, voices in my head, strategies and plans, where do they lead instead? I take a breath, step back to see the bigger picture, what's meant to be. Coaching sessions, a guiding light, helping me focus, setting things right. With every word, a new perspective gained. In the game of life, it's not about the pain. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Quiet moments, I find my voice. In the chaos, I make my choice to lead with kindness, to act with care, to be the change, to show I'm aware. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Careers, Chaos, and Coaching. It is Sunday, March 22nd, 2026, and I'm here with my amazing co-host, Melissa Ann Houston. I don't know why I said "and" this time, but I did. And we are here today to talk about managing up and moving forward, career growth that works. Because we talk a lot about leadership and managing down and what you can do for yourself, but managing up is a big part of your career that a lot of times we forget, and we expect that the managers need to manage us. Well, it goes two ways, and also laterally. But before we get into the topic, Melissa, how are you doing? How's your week been going? How are you feeling?
Oh, guys, I am putting on a brave face today. Totally have the Sudafed activated, drinking Gatorade and ready to do this. But quick shout out, since it is the 22nd, I just wanted to take a moment and say happy birthday to my former employee we lost just over a year ago in a motorcycle accident. He would have been 22 today, and I just wanted to say happy birthday to Eric, because gone but not forgotten. I'm feeling better a bit though, really, guys. I tucked myself into bed, bundled up, sweated it out yesterday. I just kept taking the NyQuil to go back to sleep, and I really feel like it helped a lot, but I don't know. It's something that's been lingering in the district. Everybody in Washington seems to have it, and so they're saying 8 days was what the recovery was on this, anybody who has made it through. So fingers crossed we're going to beat that. I would like to cut it in half and make it 4. Can we do that, Felipe? 4 days.
I hope so, because when it hit me, my wife, my son in the same week, it hit us for 10 days. So I'm hoping
wait. Hey, guys, if you have hacks to get rid of colds, drop them in the chat right now. I can't do 10 days. I have people out on vacation. No, we're not saying that. We're saying 4 days, Felipe. 4, 3, 2.
I will say one hack that helped me feel better was my daughter introduced me to it a long time ago at Starbucks. It's called a medicine ball. They're not allowed to call it a medicine ball anymore because it's not a medical drink. And all it is citrus, mint, and what's the third one? Honey. And so citrus tea, mint tea, and honey. And I don't know what it is about this, but it just clears up things. It makes you feel better. So it's just something to make it a little more tolerable. Along with, I will promote NyQuil or DayQuil because DayQuil is the only way I can get through the day. But we're not talking about our health as much as everything else. I do hope you feel better, and I'm sorry that you have to work today, but I hope the Sudafed helps. If not, try DayQuil. But I do want to say hello to some of the wonderful people that have already joined us. Hello to Kenny. It's great to see you, my friend. The person who initiated this show and inspired it. Stephen Eng, good morning from New York. It's wonderful to see you. And Aaron Gibson watching from YouTube and from Vegas. If you haven't seen Aaron Gibson's page, he's in Vegas with friends of his. And
Donnie and Sam, they're getting married. Sorry.
Okay. There
Congrats,
you go.
guys. Yeah.
Congratulations, Donnie and Sam. And hope that, normally I'd say whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But for some reason with Aaron, I feel like it's not going to stay in Vegas. We're going to hear all about it.
It's on his TikTok. Go find his TikTok. It definitely isn't staying in Vegas.
And Sean, great to see you here. Thank you for joining us. Meryl Cass, Master Communicator. And thank you for the last message you sent me, Meryl. You've got me thinking. That's all I'm going to say. And let's see here. Gregory Liverpool, very concerned about your health, Melissa. It's very kind. David Pushkin from the UK. It's great to see you, my friend. How's the weather there? Chilote, thank you for coming. And we have Ashif, and I think that might be, oh, wait. We have, it just flew up here. Hold on a second. What happened? Oh, Joaquin, we have here. Leanna's here as well. And I think that's everybody. So do me a favor. If you have anybody right now that is struggling in their career to move up, looking for a job, looking to just really learn how to communicate better with senior people, whether it's in networking, in the workplace, or with clients, invite them to this room. Or even better, repost it to your network so that they all know that we are happening live and they can join the conversation and benefit from what you hear as well. So with that being said, Houston, let's do some introductions and talk about some initial thoughts about this topic before we get into some meaty discussion. Over to you.
Thank you. So guys, if we are just meeting each other, my name is Melissa and Houston. It's on the screen, Felipe, so that's why you said it. Cultivator Dreams, motivator of human capital. And what that really means is I help people like you figure out what they want to be when they grow up and get it done. I also help businesses grow. I do mindset life coaching. Truth is, life encompasses all things, right? And the way I have worked through my life is kind of unique. It has guided me through some of the worst and best portions of what humans can experience. And I share transparently to help you guys take away notes, write down some of the things I thought or did to help you. I also have been a certified staffing professional, run staffing recruiting firms, run background screening firms. I have coached and consulted from mayors on down, and I'm willing to help you guys. This is a passion project for Felipe and I. We share a lot of the same overlapping skill sets. We do it differently. We have gotten here through different paths, but that's kind of the great part of this show for me, Felipe, is I am a self-proclaimed GED and a smile. And what that means is I dropped out of high school to take care of my very sick great-grandfather. By the time that I was ready to focus on my life, I was already a single mother. And so I had to figure it out on the go. I worked my way up in organizations. I learned how to have these conversations to get beyond what I was qualified for on paper to show them I could do it. So I'm really excited to dive in, guys. If you want to learn more about me, go to documentthenact.com and please follow me on YouTube. We're at 45 subscribers right now, and I would love to get to 100.
All right. Well, definitely let's help her get to 100. Scan the QR code. You all helped me get to 100, and I appreciate that. And it definitely is meaningful and inspires me just to want to do more to provide valuable content, hopefully. For those of you I have not had pleasure meeting, my name is Felipe Cofino. I am founder of Cofino Consulting, where we provide HR services, career coaching, recruiting, training, auditing, and compliance services. I always say if you have an HR team that's doing a great job, but you want to inspect what you expect, auditing, having a friendly audit that is meant to help, not report, is always a good thing to do. And I learned that a long time ago when I used to get audited on a regular basis by colleagues from different, parts of the company. And they taught me so much. I started becoming an auditor. And it was something that you realize when you put people at ease and realize, I'm not looking to call you out. I'm just looking to find things where you can be even better. And I think that's a huge thing for all of us is how can we do what we do even better? Managing up, communicating, working with others. So I do offer a lot of that. I'm currently doing that on a regular basis right now because I am on a job search for a permanent home where I can do all the stuff that I do best in a community, in a workplace that I enjoy. So, but in the meantime, I love doing this. The original plan was for this to be my retirement plan. Now I've already started building it. So when I do retire, I'll have a good foundation already. But besides that, I'm also been an HR exec for 30 years, you all. And I've learned a lot over the years. And I apply that in my job and here on LinkedIn by giving back. It's one of the reasons why I think they gave me the LinkedIn Top Voice. I don't take it lightly. I use it to give back along with Melissa and others. And it's a great opportunity for us to really stay on top of current relevant topics that are important to you and to us. Because we are learning sometimes just at the same rate as you when it comes to things like AI. I know we don't want to say AI too much, but finally, if you're not following me on YouTube, this is where you can see all the shows I do. The ones with Melissa here, Careers, Chaos, and Coaching. I do Workplace Wellness Hour with Shimana Jetty and Ashley Llewellyn. I do Future Ready Voices and Social Saturday Chat. And it's also where you can find links and information about the books I've authored. And if you want to check it out even and buy them, go to Amazon. I do have an international best-selling children's book that is called Miranda and Max. And it's been doing well. And one thing that's cool, and I'll stop here after this, I promise, is I don't know if you have these in your neighborhood, Melissa, but here in our area, we have little like mini house boxes where people put books in for free. And it's like, just feel free to take a book, grab a book, leave a book, whatever, right? And so do you have those around your area?
We do. I can't wait to add to this. I think I know where you're going.
So as my wife and I, Michelle, would walk around, I started bringing books with me and I'd put one in there in every one. And as we started going back around, all the boxes that we put them in, my book's gone. Now, given it's got a low bar because the other books are like old romance novels and stuff like that, but it's one of those things where I appreciate that people resonate with it. And that's what inspires me to keep on doing the series. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
Okay. So number one, I love this. We do have them here and I have snuck some of our books into them. Also, I highly recommend putting a little sticky note or a little, print off something signed Felipe, just saying, hey, if you love this, please post and tag me, and then put your socials on, because then you can track where the book goes. And I think it would be fun to have that journey. It's something that I have done with other clients where they had like a special tracking where they put stuff out into the universe and just said, please let us know where it goes, from painted rocks to like different fuzzy animals we've hidden all over town. And so I think maybe that would be something cool to add to that.
Well, see, now you just gave me an idea to put a QR code in the book for everyone just for that reason alone, to say, hey, let us know your thoughts about the book, or hey, let us know where the book's gone and traveled to. But
call to action every time, guys. You needed to keep the conversation going.
See, Houston, why did you tell me this idea before? Because I had a.
Why didn't you talk to me about it before?
So, I did talk to you about it. That's hello.
I love when you crack your voice like you're 12. I
promise it'll be very short, you all. I have the QR code for the song and the video that goes with it. I now have a QR code for the free coloring book that goes with it, which I thought was brilliant, by the way, I gotta say.
Did I get a copy of a coloring book? Did I get a QR code to scan? What's happening here? I don't get to color?
It's okay. Again, the new books have the QR codes in it. I will send you a coloring book, okay? I'm actually trying to bind it a little bit too. But anyways, all right, let's get back to the topic here, because you all didn't come here to hear us banter as much as about our life.
Maybe. Are you guys awake? Are you still there? Here we go.
let us know which part of the bantering you like the least. But also just want to say hello to Stephen. I'm no, sorry, I said hello to Stephen already. Hello to Christy Williams. Great to see you. Christy attended the virtual wellness experience the past 2 days and really was just such a great contributor to the whole conference there. So appreciate you there. And Lisa Fevix in the house. All right. So let's move on. All right. So we're talking about this. I'm going to go through these fairly quickly. These are Fluid-Based 5 top things I wanted to talk about when we're talking about managing up and moving forward and things that really will work for our career growth. All right. So the first one, all right, plain and simple, is build visibility without bragging. All right. Your supervisor does not want to have someone that's constantly bragging about how good they are. Okay. But your supervisors don't know what they don't know. And so it's important for us to sit there and make sure that we share updates, not just outcomes, that we connect with them and the work and the team and the goals, and that you start referencing your contributions. Remind them, well, I did help out with this. I can build on this if you'd like, and having those moments, it's also a moment also when you're getting your review, whether they ask you to do this or not, list all the things you accomplished since your last review and send it to your supervisor ahead of time, saying, hey, I just wanted to have this fresh in your memory because I know you deal with a lot and you supervise other people. I just want to give you an easy one-shot list of what have I accomplished this year so you can remember. It's not bragging. It's just giving you facts about. And I think building visibility without bragging is important. Houston, what are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh, this is the most timely conversation ever for me. I am at my annual review. How do I tell my boss I'm amazing without bragging? Because it is bragging. I am amazing. We are rocking. I got to be honest. It's something I can brag about, but it doesn't come off well, right? It doesn't come off to be the braggadocious one. And so what I did is I relied on Gemini. I went to AI. I know this is shocking, Felipe, but truthfully, if Gemini is bragging on me, what am I going to say except these are the facts? So I just went and said, please grab this report, please grab this report, please grab this report. And I said, please summarize it. And I'm going to share just a few things, not a lot, but I need you to know I had grown plan 23,000%. I finished with a 23,000% increase over plan over last year, which is crazy because it was like 300 to 70. Okay. Something crazy like that. We talked about growth. We talked about all of the things I'd done. And when I could put it into statistics for him, a 792% increase on our community events. Since I took over, almost 800% growth on community events. That's not to be argued with. It is bragging, but Gemini told them. So that's what I would say. If you're not sure, if you don't know how to put the numbers together, if you're like, hey, this is the data, can you help me put it into statistics that will help me explain my growth or loss or whatever it is, right? Whatever your numbers are, I think it helps a ton. And then you can say, hey, I know we're going to meet for a review. I had Gemini help me create a report of all the things we can cover when we meet. Boom, done.
I love that. And I think that's a brilliant thing to do, is to help. It is hard to brag about yourself. It's hard to talk highly about yourself, especially to your supervisor. But when you have something like AI help you say, all right, well, here are factual accomplishments of yours that I've compiled based on what you provided me. And it's a little bit more easier to say, okay, well, this is what was produced. So, and you can even tell AI, rewrite this in a way that doesn't come across so overly confident, cocky, or bragging. And it will definitely do that for you. So I think that's a great example in Houston. All right, number 2. This is important, all right? And before you all jump to conclusions, I'm going to say, understand your leader's communication style. Now, you all have heard me talk about this to no end. I now have official training that I do that people pay for this. I'm not going to go into that training right now. I'm going to be more simple about this and explain. Think about the people in your life and which people. Think about someone that you have a challenge with, that you in work or even personal life, that you wish you could communicate better with. And even if it's not a supervisor, it's okay. But get that person in your mind. And now tell me which of these styles are the ones that describe them best. There's only 4 styles that we all have, all right? So this one is, are they direct and results driven? Are they more analytical and detailed oriented? Are they more relationship focused and people focused? Or are they more of a visionary and big picture and talks about the future? Which one of those four? Because here's the thing. You don't need to take an assessment to always figure out someone's communication style. It's helpful. It helps, especially if you have a team. But when you're dealing one-on-one, you can usually figure out, okay, this guy or this woman, this person likes to be direct and to the point, or this person likes to be analytical and detail-oriented. So let me give them something to process and read that's got details in it. Other people are relationship focused. Hey, let me not just jump into business. Let me see how they're doing. Ask if now is a good time. Make sure that I respect their time. Or the visionary big picture. Paint the picture of, hey, I have an idea, and this is what I think will happen in the future if we do it now. Those approaches are all four different approaches to presenting the exact same idea. But here's the thing. If I'm someone who's analytical and detailed oriented, and you come to me with that direct, hey, I have an idea. We can do this starting right now. Here's my plan. We can do A, B, C, and D. Are you okay with that? Okay, hold on. I have a lot more questions to ask. I need more information. And I just feel like you're just reacting versus thinking things through. Now, that might not be the case. They may have thought this through very detailed, but their communication to me was just too fast, and it gave me the impression that they weren't. So this is where I say, you may not have access to the assessments, you may not have taken my course, but you have the ability to assess yourself how people like information. And when you do that, you can really make an impact on getting them to listen to you. And when they listen to you, managing up it's so much easier. Houston, what are your thoughts?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Number one, I see Meryl's question, and it's exactly what I was thinking. I Venn diagram a couple of these communication styles as who I am. I am very detail analytical, but at the same time, I am direct. I do like to assess. And so, giving somebody the grace of, when you speak to anybody, talk to the 5 and 75-year-old in the room is like sales 101. If you can make the messaging work for the 5-year-old and the oldest person in the room, then you're doing great, because everybody in between should understand. But sales 101 says, ask more questions than you give answers. And why is because then you get to assess how they deliver the data. You can hear their tone. You can see their body language. You can hear the stresses as they're trying to articulate what is the worst part of their day in business or whatever it is you're trying to solve for. The other side of it is then the timing. I think the one thing about communication we forget is not just the style, but once we've communicated, did we give them the equal amount of time to process the data that we've had? If I have contemplated something for 3 weeks, I come to Felipe and I'm like, here's my idea. I want to do it right now. Let's go. It is unfair to him because I've had 3 weeks to process. Why would I expect him to be ready for something I've had so much time to chew on? And so I think that should be something we always think about in communication as well.
I love that. And Meryl, another point to your question about what if they have two communication styles, the reality is all of us have all four in us. We all have the ability to be direct and results driven. We have the ability to be analytical and detailed oriented. We have the ability to be relationship and people focused, and we have the ability to be a visionary and big picture. It's what we prefer and what we're comfortable with that ends up being our preferred style. So when I do these assessments, I always tell people, what did you score the highest on out of the 4 styles? Because we focus on saying these are your 2 predominant styles. They can change based on your environment. But to your point, Meryl, I'm somebody who is a direct, results-driven, and relationship, people-focused person. Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm visionary, big picture, and direct, results-driven. You come to me with all this paperwork and data and spreadsheets, I have no problem looking at it, but that's not how I want to be introduced to it. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me your idea. Okay, because if you come to me with your idea, I'm going to ask, okay, can I see some information, more information? I like where you're going with this. You got any data? You got any information? Send it to me. Because that part of me the analytical part of me does want to see it. I didn't want to see it first. So if you have someone that is, for example, direct results driven and relationship people focused, you tap into both of those first. You walk into them saying, hey, good morning, Meryl. How's your day? How's your weekend? And how was that conference you went to? Did you enjoy it? Oh, that's great. How's everything else going? Good. Wonderful. Hey, can I talk to you about something real quick? And afterwards, I'm happy to send you more information if you want. Here's my idea. This is what I want to do. I have this team to do it, and I can do it by this date. What are your thoughts? And he might say, you know what, direct and results driven is like, I like the idea. I like where you're headed. Go ahead and put it on paper, and let me just make sure that we're not missing anything. That's so much better than if I just came in and like, here's a whole book of ideas I thought about for the last 3 weeks. Can you read this and tell me what you think? I'll get to it when I have a chance, because that's not my preferred method of hearing the idea. So get me enticed with my preferred method of communication, and you'll be able to do so much more. All right, let's move on. And I will say mirror.
Did we lose you? Is it just me?
Did I lose you all?
Yeah, for a second. Here you
All right,
are.
sorry. All right, moving on to the next one here. Let's roll this up here. All right, the next one is strengthen. Oh, let me move this chat here a second. All right, well, I'm just going to move the chat. All right, so strengthen relationships up, down, and across. All right, now that may seem obvious in some cases, but what I mean is that your career is not a straight line. It moves through people. And you never know when that person that works for you might end up being your boss one day, or that coworker might be your boss one day. Building relationships throughout your career, not just with the higher ups, because nobody wants a big brown noser, let's be honest. Okay, so you want people advocating for you when you're not in the room. And if you have a good relationship with somebody, they're going to do that. I talk about whenever the words come out of my mouth with anything resembling documenting your actions and taking action. Well, I always kind of give credit to Houston. Like, just like Melissa Houston, document an act. That is her whole part of her business is promoting that, and it's part of her brand. I say that because I respect what she does. I know what she does, and I'm aware of it. That's what a relationship does. It helps people talk about you when you're not even in the room. So whether it's cross-functional, whether it's your team, whether it's people you report to, schedule regular touch points with them when there's not a problem. Don't go to them only when there's a problem. It's like a parent who's like, you only come to me when you need money. Always have some times to just check in and see how things are going, offer help before asking, and follow through consistently, because following through for them, that builds trust in small moments. And at the end of the day, promotions don't come from resumes. They come from relationships. And that's not a privileged thing to have. Relationships is something that you work at. Houston?
Oh, I love this so much. It has been my very premise of building within an organization is to get to know everybody. I love a good Venn diagram, and I've always used that mindset of if we're all overlapping circles to get the business job done, how do we meet in the middle? How do we maintain what's ours on the outside, but like literally dive into the center together and make sure it happens? And so learning who people are, learning what motivates them. One of the first things I do with a new team member is ask them what they want to do after they leave the job. Welcome, you're hired. What do you want to be when you grow up? I just did this with a new hire of mine. And something I learned about him was I'm only here for a year. I want to move to a different city and become a mechanic one day. And the school that I want to be in is in Tacoma. I was like, that's fantastic. I know somebody in Tacoma. I can get your spot held right now. And I called Tacoma and I said, hey, I have your next employee. He's not available for 12 months. I'll train him and I'll send him. No joke, right? But now I have that conversation started. Not only that, but then I'm an ambassador for one of our KPIs in our nationwide program, and I coach alongside the managers that I'm working against like competition. It's a district-wide race, but I'm coaching them to be as successful in the program as I have been. And then on top of it, when I can, anytime I can, I use LinkedIn. I use ADP because that's an asset we have. Everybody's contact information is there. A lot of the higher ups in your organization will put their email and phone number into that information. They'll go to LinkedIn and they'll post publicly. I was able to go to LinkedIn, tell one of our member directors of services, hey, I heard you met my assistant. He's in Daytona. He said it was great to meet you. I'm so proud of what he accomplished there. Well, now I'm part of a fast track mentoring program that he's running. And it all happened within the last few weeks. It's just that simple to strategize, but not do it to be mean. It's just, hey, let's celebrate these wins together. I heard you met somebody who did really great things out there. My ASM when he was, or my assistant when he was there, told him, hey, yeah, you remember this person. She's the same person who trained me. And so it's just so fantastic to have that because you guys can reinforce each other. Steel strengthens steel, iron sharpens iron. And the other pillar, guys, if you're a leader, if you can share good things, the wins about your team, if you encourage them to speak above their pay grade to tell others about the wins, it really opens up a lot of high fives. My ASM, my assistant, was only comfortable telling this big wig about who I was and the success our store has had and why it's been that way, because I have been preaching about my team so openly to everybody else too. So set the standard. I think have that conversation. Be willing to put your phone number and email out there so your lower level people can reach out to you and really bridge that gap. Because I think if you're sitting too high on top of the pyramid and you're not talking to the foundational people, you lose a ton.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on here. We have a half hour left. We're going to invite people up shortly, but invite your friends and network to the room if you have not done so already, so they can benefit from this conversation. And I want to say welcome to Charito and Coach Carey. Great to see you. And I don't think I'm missing any. Oh, Chilote, thank you for being here as well. So with that being said, the fourth one is advocate for your growth the right way. Now, this should be a little bit similar to being confident but not bragging, because advocating for your growth is talking about you wanting to move up. Obviously, we talked about your review, and it's important to have your accomplishments listed before you go into the review and sending it to your supervisor ahead of time so they can remember everything you accomplished that year. But that's not the only reason. You know, Stephen Ng talked about his coworker becoming a supervisor. What if that happened mid-year? How many people have had a supervisor, a new supervisor mid-year? Well, they weren't here for the first half of the year, maybe, or they weren't your supervisor, so they don't know everything you accomplished. So even more reason for you to advocate for yourself and remind them during your one-on-ones or during your performance that you deliver consistent results, that you understand the business needs, that you can, communicate and articulate impact clearly. But make sure that you replace the phrase, I want a promotion, and do it with, hey, I'm bringing value. I'm doing a lot for the company. I can add more. What would it take for me to get to the next level? And then document the wins from that conversation. And so it's important for you to remember that if you don't advocate for yourself, you're leaving your career in someone else's hands. And the chances of them making it a priority are not guaranteed. Houston?
Squeaky wheel gets oiled, guys. It's always been how it works, right? And you can squeak about the negatives, you can squeak about the positives, you can squeak about your dreams, your nightmares. It really is up to you. You're going to write your story either way. And so have the conversation. I think it's important to let people know where you're at. When I started this role, I told my employer that I had 3 to 5 years max that I would offer them. In this specific location, because my daughter was going to graduate high school in that time. I wasn't sure I would stay beyond that. I definitely think within 3 to 5 years, promotion is an acceptable time frame for a window. Sorry, my brain, I'm sick. But anyway, it's about that time. And so having that conversation, letting them know in advance, being able to come into the review going, we are at the 3-year mark. In the next 24 months, I want to see some action. And so how do I get that action going? I'm doing all the back end work. I'm building up. I'm showing that I can do what they ask for. And if it doesn't work, guys, then I can also shift, right? But you have to decide how much growth you need, how much stability you need versus growth. Sometimes growing is just staying still and growing the savings account. There's a lot of things to consider. But I think when you know you're ready, you got to speak up. And if you're not speaking up, nobody's going to speak for you.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. All right, going to our fifth and last one here is turn effort into opportunity. Okay. And this might be hard for some people, but it's important to remember that, working hard is expected, but positioning your work so that it gets rewarded and recognized is a little bit different. And like Melissa said, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. It doesn't mean that you have to be the loudest, but you've got to speak up so you're heard. Signs that you're stuck in this is, oh, you're busy. You say yes to everything. Your work isn't tied to strategic priorities. But instead of doing those kind of things, focus on the high impact work, not just the high volume work. And then if you don't know how it ties into priorities, ask, hey, can you help me understand how this ties into what we do as a company? Because I want to make sure I'm contributing, and learn to say things like, here's where I can add the most value, because people don't always recognize all the skills that their teams have. They may have hired you for a certain skill set, and the others that you have in your tool belt, people don't always recognize or don't know about it unless you let them know. So I'll end with this. Your effort's going to get noticed, but your strategy and how you do it is what's going to get you promoted. So think about that. Let us know your thoughts. What's your favorite takeaway from today, or what questions you have? Houston, what are your thoughts about this one here?
I just think ROI. If you're going to put in the effort, why are you there to do it? What is the purpose? I don't understand putting in the work without understanding what the outcome's supposed to be. So if it's just a retirement plan, that's cool. If it's just to fill your time, so you don't have to be at home with the kids, cool. If you're there to grow something, if you're there to elevate yourself, if you're there to really give 110%, the opportunities will come. And so just watch what you're growing and what you're feeding into. The other side I will just say, guys, is you can actually put effort into the wrong things. You can turn it into an opportunity for gossip, for dismantling the business from the ground down by just like subtle little hints of things in the background, or, communicating, but not with the person who can fix it, just with the people who can agree that it's a problem. And so be careful that you're putting in the right effort and making sure that the opportunity becomes what you want it to, not something else.
Well said. Well said. I do want to welcome a few people that joined us. Gregory, Liverpool, great to see you. I don't know why you think there's severe weather around where I'm at, because I'm looking outside and it's sunny and 80 degrees right now, and it's like the nicest day we've had this year. So if you know something I don't know, let me know. Nick, it's great to see you as always. Nick's our publisher. And then we have somebody else came in here where is it? I saw someone else sneak in. I said hi to David Pushkin already, but there was somebody else. Oh, Jay, there you are. Jay's in the house. All right. So final thoughts on this I want you all to think about is managing up isn't about politics. It's about awareness, alignment, and intentional actions. And that all that comes through building relationships. So stop waiting to be seen and start positioning yourself to move forward. Those relationships will help you now and possibly in the future. I'll be very transparent about, the fact that I've had a job search, people in LinkedIn. I can't tell you how much gratitude I have for the relationships that have been built, because when there are times where I'm in need, I'm not always the best at asking for help, but the people that have offered it means the world. And that's where I think that this community of us giving back, when you give back, don't expect something back in return right away. But you know what? It'll come back when it's the most important. So those relationships, I can't stress enough, managing up, that you've got to build those strong, meaningful relationships, because they are going to help carry you And people are going to advocate for you when you're not around, especially when you're up for that promotion. That's when you want the people advocating for you the most. All right, Houston, what are your thoughts?
I am just really glad that we're having this conversation because, truthfully, guys, it comes back to being human. Think about yourself at work. Think about all the things you're juggling, struggling with, whether you're a human leader or you're just managing a pipeline or a trail of papers, whatever it is that makes you at your job. Think about what you face to stay on task, focused, try to be aware of what's happening around you. And just ask yourself, do you think you are 100% in tune with everybody who's sitting in your office, everything they're facing, everything they're going through, all their dreams, all their hopes, all their wishes for additional training or alignment or promotion? If you can't say yes, then please don't assume your boss can. Your boss probably has just a big of a plate in front of them or maybe multiple plates. And so if you can't say honestly that you understand 100% of what's going on around you at all times, then don't assume anybody else does. You have to be clear. You have to have that conversation. You have to bring it up to them, because I am happy to address anything my team brings to me, but I absolutely float around in this bubble land if I don't see it in the data, if I don't see it on a customer's face, if I don't see a problem in the store, if the employee doesn't bring it to me, I don't think there's a problem. And as much as I can assess and watch for it, it really comes down to, I can't read what's inside of you. You can't read what's inside of me. And so we just have to be transparent as we can be to make this work. Felipe?
I want to apologize. I think I put the link to the event, not the link to Restream. So I'm putting that in there now as we speak. But, one of the things that I was thinking about while you're talking there, Houston, is that, those relationships that we make and managing up and speaking up for yourself, it also shows that your confidence. And if you want to get promoted, confidence in yourself is a big part of it. And you have to remember not to shortchange yourself by saying things that are negative, or saying, I know I do this all the time, but I can get better. Don't focus on that. Focus on your strengths. Focus, because the good point is that if you're aware of what you need to work on, that's the important part. So it's important for you to sit there and try to find ways to communicate, like we said, in a manner that is relevant to how they like to communicate, and share what you've accomplished and your successes at the right time. Performance reviews, when you're asked, when there are promotion opportunities. And if you have the right environment, I'll say this. When I was in the hotel industry, we had 10 Hyatts in the DC area. So we were able to move up by bouncing from one Hyatt to the other. You moved up from a smaller hotel to a larger hotel and moved all the way up. And once you got to that big hotel, you got to a higher level position, but you started at a smaller hotel again. Well, there were 3 of us that were assistant directors for a year and a half. And at every event that we all had together, like once every 2 months, we would joke around. They're like, oh, what do you all want to do next? We're like, we want your all's jobs. So either you all need to move on or quit, or we're going to take you out, and we would joke around about that. Now, I caution you, if you work in a company that does not have multiple sites and opportunities, you don't want to threaten your boss with, I want your job, because then that might threaten the relationship. So make sure you know if you can joke with them about that kind of stuff before you start joking, because if you don't have that kind of relationship, they might think that you're going to try to undermine them to get your job, and you don't want that. Houston, what are your thoughts?
Okay, so I have done both sides of this. I have gone into my employer's office, looked at him and said, I don't want to be you. I can't. You look stressed. I don't want to do what you do. I just want to do what I do. And genuinely, it put a damper on how far I could climb, because I knew I didn't want to be as stressed as him. I knew that I could probably do it different, but that's not what I said. And then the other side is I have come in and said, I want to be you when I grow up. What do I got to do to get there? And they took that as a compliment, because if I'm looking at you as somebody I want to emulate, that's a beautiful thing. Doesn't mean I have to do it here. Doesn't mean I have to be exactly the same, but just letting them know, hey, I want to be you when I grow up. could be a fun way to play. I think just ask some questions like, what made you want to take this role? What made you decide to take the promotion to sit in this chair? Have that conversation first and go, I could see myself doing that, right? And or just align in that way. If it does align, just own that in the conversation. I think it'll take you a lot farther than playing with it in that way. But ask questions, get the conversation going, and just tell them, my dream is to sit where you sit one day. How do I get there? And I think it's a very easy way to address it without being intimidating or demanding.
And, I'm so glad you brought that up, because one of the things that happened in the hotel industry when I was in the hotel industry was that we had a number of our number twos tell us across the board in all divisions, sales, catering, F&B, HR, accounting, they were telling us, we don't want your jobs. We don't want to do what you do. You're the stress, the hours, in my case, I had to deal with terminating people and coaching people, and people didn't want to deal with that. So it is something that it's good to know what you want, but you do have to be careful, because if you change your mind, you better have a good reason why you change your mind, and you tell them, wait, I do want your job now. Okay. Do you want it just because there's more money, or do you want it because you want to do the work? Because I keep on saying this, and I'll keep on repeating this. Leadership is not just a title. It's a responsibility. And if you're not willing to take on that responsibility, you shouldn't be in that role. Unfortunately, a lot of us have leaders that are like that. So that's why we have to manage up, because they are human too, and they've got flaws just like we do. So as much as you want to complain about what a bad boss they are, remember they're human. Everyone's going to have a flaw. So how are you going to manage up so that it doesn't stop your career growth? I'd love to hear any of the questions you all have in the chat, because I think this has been a good conversation. I love the questions that have happened so far. But
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Houston. I didn't see your hand raised. Please ask your question.
Thank you. Felipe, how do you address it if let's say I come to HR and I'm like, all right, Felipe, I have these concerns. I've been thinking about it. Here's an outline. I emailed it to you a week before. I did all the things that we've talked about, right? But now we're in the chair. Now I'm telling you my concerns. Now I'm giving you my list. How do you deal with it? And how do you ask for time to process, address, assess, and do all of that without making me feel like I've been put off?
That's a great question, because that's happened. Things have come up that I may have told the person, hey, I'll get to you by Friday. And all of a sudden Friday came around and some crisis happened, and it slipped my mind, or I couldn't get to it. The first thing I always tell people, and I tell this to my team, to myself, like, beat me to the punch. And I do that too. I beat them to the punch. Let me know if you're not going to get something to me by the time you said so. But when they come to me, like you just did, Melissa, my first thing is, I am sorry. I'm going to apologize, because you're right. You are a priority, and I don't want you to feel like you're not. And what I'll do is I'll put things in writing on the schedule at that point, if I hadn't already, to say, hey, we're going to follow up tomorrow by this time, and I'll have updates for you, I promise. And I'm going to commit to things and follow up, because if I lose my credibility about anything, follow-up, confidentiality, whatever it is, I might as well quit, because that is a huge part of my job, and I need people to trust me, because I hold a lot in my hands. I hold the potential for them to move up. I hold access to their salaries, their private benefits information. There's a lot there. And the last thing I want is someone like that not to be trusted. So yeah, I would definitely, again, own up to it, set a plan in place, and put something concrete on the schedule for a follow-up, so that it does not get forgotten again, and that you get make sure that person feels like they are a priority.
And it may not have been forgotten in the first place. Maybe it's just the first meeting after addressing the issue. But I just wondered how you handled it. I will just add quickly, I had an employee experience something on the clock. I left for my weekend. I got an email on the weekend. But when I came back, it was 2, 3 days later. And um, I was a little concerned about the time frame already just because of the nature of the incident. But what I read, and I won't like share everything, but it was just, I know you care about your employees, and I just wanted to bring this to your attention. And you know what? As I was more upset, they didn't just call me immediately on the phone. I would have come to work at that time. But being able to set that standard, guys, of knowing that they can come to you, knowing you will address it when you see it, knowing that you have their back, it really changes everything. And those employees then come bring other things, not just problems, but solutions too, because you're willing to listen. And so I just love that, Felipe. I wanted to add that piece. Welcome, Greg.
And I think it's important to make sure that when you're in that role, especially if you're in HR or a management role, you've got to be able to communicate up. I would keep my CEOs in the know, saying, hey, there's an employee situation with this employee. No action required. This is just for your information. We've handled it. But in case you hear about it, I don't want you to be blindsided. On the same note, they're like, what's going on with this employee's, why are they out so much? I'm like, they got some personal time they're taking off for health issues. What's the health issue? That's none of your business. I can't tell you. And they have to respect that. So you have to protect the boundaries that are there for the people as well. Before we get to Gregory, I just want to address some questions that came up here. Well, first of all, I think Mike asked Coach Carey how we can bottle her energy. I don't know the answer to that question, but the other question was, Jay asked, do you believe emotional intelligence plays a role in our career growth? 110%, Jay, especially for leadership roles, but I apply to all roles. But I say leadership roles specifically because when I post a position for a leadership role, one of the lines under the requirements is the ability to display emotional intelligence in the workplace. And when I interview them, I ask for examples. So it is absolutely relevant in your career growth, because if you can't handle it when people are emotional on your team and you just become emotional, then you're not a good leader. And the other question is, Mike asked, how do you deal with leadership that advocates against you? That sucks. That just sucks. What I do, and it goes back to building relationships, I've had to build relationships with people that I do not like as a person. I do not like them. They are not good people, maybe, and they advocate against me because they don't like me. So I usually have the sit-down conversation saying, okay, look, we don't have to like each other, but we have to work together. And I want to respect what you do, and I want you to respect what I do. How can we get there? Because I don't want you advocating against me. If you can't say anything positive, I'd rather have you not say anything. But how can we get a better place so that you don't have this negative perception of me? Because I do want to get there, and it's important to me to be able to work with you. And it's just an honest conversation.
Sorry, I just have to add real quick, document. Not just having the conversations, guys. Let me just say, document it all, put it in writing, bring it in to the meeting and go, listen, Felipe, you sent me this email. Nowhere in this email is this aligned with my job description. I was unaware this was a task assigned to me, whatever it is, right? Or you say, hey, I'm seeing repeating patterns of behavior here. What is it that I'm failing to do that makes you so unhappy with my output? And just have it in writing, because truthfully, they're doing it too. And it makes them understand you're serious about your job and you're going to assess the problems. And don't come in like a bull, but just go, listen, I'm seeing all of this in writing. Let's talk about it. What's the problem? And make them accountable for it.
That is so freaking important. Bring examples. Don't just say you're always against me. Give them examples of it, and don't be aggressive. Just be factual. It's like, look, I don't understand why this happened, but on this day, this is what you emailed, or on this day in this meeting, this is what you said. Mike followed up with that, and this is another challenging situation. He had a CIO that wanted to hold on to him because he was too good. And I've seen that happen. People are too good at their jobs, so they're afraid to lose them. And that's where you need to have that conversation saying, and remind them, and if you can't do this, you might have to go above their head, unfortunately. Because if someone's holding you back like that, that's not fair. But I always try to remind people that are holding on to their employees, saying, look, do you want a reputation of someone that doesn't promote people? Or do you want to be the person that people want to work for because you promote people? Because those are the people that attract top talent, people who have records of promoting people out on a regular basis. I saw that happen, and that's why people wanted to work for me in the hotel industry. It was something I did on a regular basis. I was able to promote out a lot of directors in my career because of how I treat them. Trust me, I didn't want to see them go. I didn't want to have to train someone new, but that's what the mindset's got to change. And also letting them know, hey, if I get promoted, I'm still in the company. I'm still a resource to you. If you have a problem with the new hire and I can help out, reach out to me. And that's what I always do. Now, you may not want to do that. It might be too much. I get that. But I think that's a way of maintaining that relationship. And the last
I
question.
just have to wait. I got to add to this really quick. The other thing is they go, you're too valuable. I can't lose you. You're too good. I would turn to them, dead eye, look in their face and say, so are you going to be a good employer and promote me, or are you going to hold me back? And just hold him accountable to what he just said. Because if I'm that good, why are you holding me back? If you're a good employer, you wouldn't. I am considered a training store in my district now because I have promoted so many and they keep moving on to do their best in other places. We just had this conversation on Friday as a group, me being the example of training and pushing them out so they could go do bigger, better things. And so guys, don't hold yourself back and ask the questions if you're not understanding why they're doing it. If you feel you're being held back, make sure they know you feel that. It comes back to being transparent about how you feel.
All right. And last question, because I'm sorry, I did ask for everybody for questions before Gregory came up, so I want to respect that. Nick said, how do you know that where confidence ends and ego begins? Is this difference for how each employee perceives it? I mean, yes, it is different based on how people perceive it, but here's what I always say is my measurement of when I'm interviewing people or managing up is someone who is confident is going to also recognize where they still need to improve. They're going to mention saying, if I say, oh my God, you're an expert at this, like, well, no, look, I've learned a lot. I've done really good with this, but I still have opportunities where I need to grow on this, and this. Someone who has an ego thinks that they're the best, and they're not going to share they're not going to be humble. They're not going to share any flaws or share opportunities where they need to grow, even if they know they need to grow. So that's my dividing factor. Houston, what's yours?
Honestly, I think that's a great one. It's just knowing also how you leave the room, right? There's a lot of winners out there. There are people who celebrate wins all the time, and there are thousands who cheer for them every day. Olympic medal winners, for example, recent, idea. How many people clapped, and what was that behavior at the podium? We saw people who would untangle a flag for the other country who won. We saw people bow. We saw people show respect in ways we don't always see. And I think there's the winning mentality and being able to know you took the gold, but also be able to show respect at the same time to those who were on the podium with you, also trying to win. I think it comes back to emotional intelligence. Are you hurting others? Because maybe you're not the only one who was in the race for that thing you just won. And how do you make them feel now that you've had it? So I think there's so many layers to this. We could definitely dive in, but I don't want to keep Gregory waiting too much longer.
All right, well, let's go to Gregory, and I want to answer Sharito's question and Mike's other last comment. So, all right, Gregory, please, what is your question around managing up or your comment? Over to you.
I will take a little bit of what Jay said and a little bit of Melissa says, because I'm getting a lot of light bulb type of moments type of thing, which leads to a quote from this famous movie. And if you know the movie that I'm talking about, put it in the comments. Quote, I was so busy keeping my job, I forgot to do my job. Close quote. Name the movie. That's your trivia question for today and stuff. If you're right, I will buzz Felipe or Melissa to show the correct answer in the comments du jour. The reason why I say I'm taking a little bit of here, because I have been on the worst end, and people who does not put me in higher predicaments of work. One instances that I was one single vote away from being a call center manager in a call center environment, and the vote had to been unanimous. So, which means I was basically stuck in the same job for basically for a year plus and stuff. And as people may know, people who are neurodiverse gets the wrong end of the stick in regards to the trials and tribulations in regards to in regards to the situation du jour of everything else in regards to managing up and leveling up, because we are always stuck in entry level type of work and we're not fully acknowledged and stuff. So that's basically my comments in regards of that type of situation. And I do not see anything of the movie that quote from, so I'm going to say it anyway. That is a quote from Michael Douglas at the podium in the press gallery room as President Andrew Shepard in The American President. So that's why I'm thinking that quote is really fondly and deeply ingrained in terms of leadership management, especially with emotional intelligence and stuff. So, which basically brings out character and everything of that nature, which we are struggling as a society to do and to act on it with being authentic in mind. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Gregory. Appreciate you sharing that. And I think, when you have those environments where everyone's voting, you have to have unanimous, that's tough. I've been there, and I've changed it to majority, because unanimous, one person can just have a personal feeling, and that's not fair. So that wasn't, I think, the best environment to be in. But again, if there is one person that you feel is not advocating for you, you got to find a way to communicate differently with that person and try to build that relationship. Because I've had people who, I'll tell you right now, I had to work for a CEO who I didn't respect, but I had to do my job. And as part of my job, I protected him a little bit, in the sense of I pointed out things for him to not do if I knew he was going to do something that would be received poorly. And I also stopped employees from like, hey, wait, you don't want to approach them this way. This is the way you want to approach them. And coaching them on how to approach someone that does have that personality trait. Because I think it was Charito who said it. Yeah. How about if the leader is the problem and has a personality problem? And that's where you're not going to change their personality. You're not. So how can you manage around it? And if you learn to manage around it and they see it, they're going to respect you most of the time, because they think you're looking out for them. And that builds some loyalty. And then, Mike, just to your point, if it's that toxic that you went above the head and it still didn't do anything, that tells me that you should probably look for a different company to work for, because that wasn't the right company for you. If the people higher ups are okay with other people holding people back, that's a key toxic problem that's all the way through the company, and there's not much you can probably do in the short term. All right, Houston, it is the end of the hour.
I just want to add real quick before we go. I love the one thing Gregory said that stuck in my brain, and I just think it brings us back to the topic. So I want to put a bullet point on it. You have to focus on your job. I don't know how many times I watched people ruin their career because they got so focused on the complaining of what they weren't getting, what wasn't being fixed, what wasn't being done, that they stopped doing the things they needed to get done. And so they became a problem and a complainer, not just a complainer. And so if you want to move forward, make sure you're giving 110% to your job while you're asking for more. If I think about a teenager who's like, hey, I want to get a job. Okay, how's school? Do you have good grades? Are you getting your homework done? Are you doing your chores at home? Do you have room on your plate for another thing? Or do you need to focus on what you have? And so I would just make sure you're assessing before you're addressing all the time. Are you giving 110%? Do they know it? Have you done it consistently enough? And then if so, Once you've addressed it, still go back and keep doing that. Don't give less just because you've opened the door. It doesn't mean you let it all go. You have to keep yourself going until they figure it out, or shift, right? Do both. Keep going 110% while you look for a new job. But I just wanted to say I really appreciated that insight.
No, and that's an important thing you highlighted there, Melissa, because doing your job well before all the examples you gave, but also before you start doing stuff that you want to do. Oh, I want to get involved with that. I want to get involved with that. I want to help with that. Well, if you're not doing your job well, I'm not going to advocate for you to help out in another area. You need to get that part of your job down pat so that people feel confident in your ability to get involved in other things or to get promoted. Okay? And if you don't know what you're not doing well, you ask and you receive it well. Because if people are willing to give you that feedback, that's been one of the things that I have found the most valuable when I'm managing people. And probably one of the things I've gotten the most compliments about is people saying, thank you for letting me give you feedback when there's areas for you to improve, because other people have to walk on eggshells or I avoid them and I hate that. So it's something that if you want to grow, be open to the feedback and don't take it as criticism. Take it as opportunity and information to help you grow. All right, Houston. Well, this has been a great conversation. I would love to hear from you on the chat if this is something that you all would like to see us build on, or if there's other topics you want us to tackle, because y'all's engagement and the questions you all asked were so wonderful. And I appreciate everyone engaging and asking those wonderful questions, as well as Gregory coming up on stage and sharing those great comments. But Houston, what was your favorite takeaway and what do you have coming up?
Well, I am in healing mode this week. I'm going to kind of be laying low. I am rescheduling the coffee chat I had scheduled for yesterday for next week. So I'm still tackling the topic just later. Really, I've just kind of taken it easy this week. I have a bunch of people out on spring break. I'm working a little bit more than I normally would to offset that. But, you know, they work hard. They get to play hard. I'm really celebrating some wins. Like I said, my assistant manager killed it in Daytona for our company. My former assistant manager is killing it in her location in her new space and getting ready to go to Houston to meet all the bigwigs because she was sales champion of the year. She's taking her best friend, Ella, who's also my former receiving specialist, and she's killing it. And she's one of the top merchandisers in the nation now. She had less than 1% variance on inventory. Just all these cool things are happening for my kiddos. And we're remembering Eric today. He's one of the team that just didn't get to make it. But it's just a lot to process, good, bad, celebrating the win, celebrating life, celebrating getting up today. I started with a prayer, and his eye is on the sparrow is in my story right now on that other blue platform. And I just think that's the mindset I'm taking this week. I hope everybody just feels spring upon us, right? It's that new season. And I think while it's still a little crazy outside in the weather, according to the chat today, we know it's coming. We know the bright skies are here to stay for a while. We know there's going to be flowers soon. And I really think it's time for you guys to start planting those seeds that you really want to see grow this year, because I think there's a lot of opportunity if you focus on it. Felipe?
Well said. Well, make sure you're following Melissa. Make sure you're following Document and Act or checking out our website, and give her a subscription and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let me pull that up real quick so you can have that up. There it is.
Thank you so much.
And Stephen, to your point, you make a great point about if a company is holding people back, it's probably because they don't have a good succession planning. That's something that is so crucial in organizations, and it's probably one of the top 5 lacking areas that people put attention to is succession planning, as well as critical roles analysis. What critical roles analysis is, if you have a role and God forbid someone got hit by a bus tomorrow, would that affect your organization to the point where it would halt it? Possibly. An example would be the person who handles payroll. If no one else can do payroll, if that person disappears, people aren't getting paid, that's going to be a huge problem. So do you have somebody in place to succeed or a backup? Same with executive levels, succession planning for management. How do you have, who's that person that you're training when that amazing person in the role today moves on? because when someone's that good, chances are they're going to want to move on. Not everyone, but a lot. So if any of that appeals to you, reach out to me for continued consulting services. I can help out with HR services around career coaching, executive coaching, recruiting, training, but also helping doing succession planning and critical roles analysis. I've done that for many organizations, industry wide, and it's been something that's been so dramatically helpful in providing the opportunities for the organization to grow and the individuals to grow. And if you know of anybody that needs it, I would appreciate it because, as you know, I am looking for work. And this week, I'm going to be busy, just nose to the grindstone, looking for those good opportunities, good contracts, and networking. And as always, if you want to check out some of the shows that we do, go to my YouTube channel as well. Please subscribe. Would love for you to see all the different shows that I do there. And you can also dig and find some funny videos if you want. That's all I'm going to say about that. With that.
Oh, Felipe.
Yes, ma'am.
On this day popped up and showed me some fantastic photos I had of you.
Oh, Lord. Which ones?
Fantastic ones. You in a field.
Oh, these are the ones that Aaron did?
Oh, I did them. I sent them to Aaron. Remember?
No.
Yeah.
No. Thank God this is the audio only, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you all listening to our podcast.
Listen, I just have to tell you, I told Felipe he was like a knight in shining armor for some reason, something, I don't know, but I created an image of him and he won't let me post it. But I just wanted to tell you, my friend, I saw them and I giggled and I wanted to so badly, but I used my emotional intelligence and I put myself in timeout. But guys, go check out those videos because that hair that I want to show you that he won't let me show you is in his YouTube channel. It's there. It's hiding. What?
All right. So,
sorry, Felipe, back to you.
if you need to, go ahead and send it to me again because I probably deleted it when you sent it the first time. So I'll get a giggle too. All right. Let me take this YouTube channel off here. And for all of you in the chat, again, thank you so much. You are the ones that make this room so valuable because of all the wonderful contributions and questions you add. So thank you to Chilote and Coach Carey and Bill. Oh, Bill, you made it. I didn't see you there. Great to see you.
Hey, Bill.
Stephen Eng, Nick, and who else we got here? Kenny and Mike LeBlanc and everyone else that joined us. I know I'm forgetting people, but Sean was here. I missed Sean. I apologize for that. The chat's been amazing. Sharito, everyone. So we appreciate you, Leah. Please come back in 2 weeks for another great Career Chaos and Coaching. Follow us on our YouTube channels. And as always, like I tell myself, remember, have confidence in the experience you have. Be curious about what you don't know and go learn about it. Be grateful for what you have if you have more than others. Be compassionate to yourself. And be tenacious as hell because you've got this. Have a great week, everyone. Houston, I hope you feel better. And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye, guys.
Adios.
In the morning light, I'm chasing dreams, navigating through the office streams. Deadlines looming, emails piling high, wondering if I'm reaching for the sky or just passing by. The world outside, it's a swirling storm, chaos in the streets, a daily norm. But inside my mind, I'm seeking peace, a way to balance, a moment to seize. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Upon meetings, voices in my head, strategies and plans, where do they lead instead? I take a breath, step back to see the bigger picture, what's meant to be. coaching sessions, a guiding light, helping me focus, setting things right. With every word, a new perspective gained. In the game of life, it's not about the pain. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our place. Quiet moments, I find my voice. In the chaos, I make my choice to lead with kindness, to act with care, to be the change, to show I'm aware. Careers, chaos, and coaching too. Finding the path, what else can we do? Observing closely, learning as we go. Making decisions, let our wisdom show. Through the storms and the calm, we'll find our way. With every challenge, we'll learn to say, we've got the strength, we've got the grace to face the world and find our